What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Big O back in the building with another brand new video. Just want to take a second to say thank you to everyone who's tuning in, and I hope everybody's having a glorious day. Today we want to get back into my series of turtle keeping hobby essentials, and the topic of discussion is basking. More specifically, your basking areas. If you watched any of my previous videos, you'll notice that I tend to go for the egg crate DIY basking areas. Egg crate is this plastic light diffuser. It's very readily available. You can go to any your local hardware store and pick it up. I usually go to Home Depot. Very inexpensive. Again, very readily available. And you can pretty much make anything you want out of it. The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. With a little imagination, you can pretty much make anything. It's one of the best materials to use when it comes to our turtle hobby. It's widely used by many keepers all over, and personally I've been using it for about 18 years myself, and I've built all sorts of things over the years. This particular platform, I have two small pieces of tile right beneath the basking light, and that's so to kind of create a hot spot. And I make them as big as possible to provide a range of temperatures for the turtle to sort of choose where he wants to bask, hotter, colder, whatever. And I also make ramps that go into the water to make it easier for them to climb onto the basking area itself. Another thing you can do with this stuff, you can make sort of these canopy type structures. What I would do before, I would have a piece like this, like laying flat on the lip of the aquarium, which is how this is laying, but it would be very close to the surface, and when the turtles would strike up to eat their pellets, especially the Mexican musk and this guy right here, they would hit their face against the egg crate. So I decided to attach it to some pieces here to kind of elevate it off the surface to avoid that happening. We do not want any accidents. Even though they're pretty tough, just want to make sure nothing's going to happen. And on this side, obviously this needs to be a little higher because it's the side where the ramp is and it's the entrance to the basking area. And this load of aquatic plants right here, well, these are all fake, but this is kind of where he sleeps at night. Kind of sits on top of the plants. So this is the part where I had to kind of raise it a lot higher. And it works. These are two separate pieces right here, as you can see right here. And that's just one example. If we turn around, this is another piece, another example. I have two different pieces right here. This again is more of like the canopy section. In here we have the actual basking area. This tank is a lot wider, so this basking area is definitely bigger. And this, again, the tiles directly under the light. And this particular basking area has one entrance there that attaches to this ramp, and one entrance there that attaches to that ramp. And again, these are just different ideas that I've come up with over the years and different little designs. And I'm sure there's a lot of different a lot of other different ways many people have done them. I'm sure there's probably better ones than this out there. And another thing, if you notice, I added this little extra plastic. It's like a plastic hardware cloth. And I just used that sort of provide more of a comfortable resting surface. And also to help them climb and to help for the smaller turtles so that their feet don't go like right through the egg crate. Yeah. Again, it really is one of the best materials to use. You can make so many different things. If we move over here, this is actually another example of a different kind of basking area, which is more or less a nest box. Because in this particular enclosure, I have a trio of striped-necked musks. There are two females in here and a male. And in case we need to haul out and you need to find an area to deposit some eggs, which is what I'm hoping is going to happen this coming spring. They can use this ramp that I'm sort of sitting right here, which is the driftwood comes all the way from the surface. Let's try to make things as easy as possible for them. And they can use this ramp to kind of just crawl right in and do what they gotta do. They don't bask as much as my other turtles, but they do use it. And it really is just a Sterilite tub filled with play sand that's been washed and dried. And it's sitting on a PVC sort of platform. And I had to stack a few pieces of egg crate and put under there because I didn't make the legs long enough. So for the meantime, I had to take the quick and easy way out and add that to be able to add some more water because I really don't like the sound of splashing water in the other room. Like the way it is now doesn't really bother me, but when the water was a few inches shallower, it created a pretty loud sound, and I didn't like that. But yeah, another example of a DIY. This is even easier because there's not much construction. All you have to do is put sand inside of a tub. The platform itself, a little bit more labor intensive. Still something that's very simple and easy to do. I have a video on how I put this whole thing together if you want to go check that out. I have another example of a basking area I made out of egg crate. This one again is a little bit different. This would be sort of the canopy side. This is where the actual basking platform is. There's a larger slate tile there, again under the basking spot. There's a ramp. She can crawl right up there whenever she wants. And another thing I use is, another thing I use this egg crate for, I create sort of these little, I guess, platforms to rest the lights on. Because if you were to sit the light directly on the basking platform, these basking bulbs are so hot that they're just gonna melt right through the plastic. And that's not good, we don't want that. Even this one, for example, you can see that it's causing, the heat is causing discoloration on the plastic. So you want to be careful when using egg crate not to put your bulbs too close to the plastic. And this one here, she thinks it's feeding time anytime I get too close to her tank. But anyhow, another thing you can do is if you're gonna sit your light right on top of the egg crate, what you can do is just cut out a space so that the bulb is over the cutout space. Because again, if not, it's gonna melt right through it. And another little fun thing that I have over here, I cut out this little portal. And this is where I feed her with tongs when I have, like, I feed her crickets and grasshoppers and things like that. And there she is. She thinks it's feeding time. And if you're not the handy type of person, which you don't really need to be very handy to create anything out of egg crate, but if you don't feel like making anything yourself, you have commercially available options, which in my opinion are not as good, but nonetheless, they are options. What we have here is the Zoomed Turtle Dock. I'm sure we've all seen these before. They're very popular in the trade. The thing about it is that they suck. The foam is not very strong. Like if I rub it a lot, it'll start to kind of come apart. Turtles can like bite chunks off of this stuff. They can eat and ingest it very bad. It can cause some serious problems. The suction cups are terrible. They don't hold for very long, especially the ones on the bottom. The ones on the bottom will always be submerged in water, and they don't last very long at all. And really, these things are just way too expensive. It's just a piece of foam. This is the largest one they make, I believe. You can see, might give you an idea of how big it is. But this thing here, if you go to like PetSmart, Petco, or places like that, you're gonna pay probably $35 for one of these things, and that's just ridiculous. You can, for $35, you can buy 2 complete sheets of egg crate and a bag of zip ties, and make basking platforms for maybe like 3 tanks. And I've had this thing for years. Obviously, it's not in use. It's just kind of sitting in storage. I don't necessarily recommend them. But like I said, if you're not into the DIY, which again, it's not very difficult to make anything out of egg crate. But if you don't feel like doing anything like that, there are other options besides the Zoomed turtle dock. I don't think any of them are really very good. But when it comes to really small turtles and hatchlings and stuff like that, they do have their uses. Whatever it is that you do use, definitely make sure you provide your turtles with a basking area. Most turtles, I would say, definitely need one. You got things like, a lot of soft shells and like mata-matas and fly river turtles and alligator snappers, and there's a few other exceptions, but I would definitely provide a basking area for almost all turtles. Even those species that people say, oh, well, they don't bask, you don't really need to put a basking area. I don't necessarily agree with that, and I'd provide one anyway. Reason being is because, well, this particular turtle, where we started at, my Claudius angustatus narrow bridge musk, and my giant Mexican musk, which she's all the way over there, not walking back over there. Before I got them, and when I was reading about them and I was asking other people who've kept them, I heard many times, oh, they don't really bask, you don't really need to give them a basking area. And I heard the same thing about snapping turtles, and I heard the same thing about various other species. These 2 turtles use their basking spots all the time, especially the Mexican musk. She's up there pretty much daily. So even though you might hear that they don't really bask that often, or what have you, always provide an area so they can do so. Your turtle might just surprise you. But to recap, egg crate, DIY, highly recommended. Commercial basking platforms suck majorly, and I do not recommend them. So, with all that being said, questions, comments, concerns, you already know, leave them down in the comment section. If you rock with me, if you love turtles, if you love reptiles, if you're rocking with the videos, give your boy a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you don't miss anything. And until the next time, happy reptile keeping. Peace.